Hello and welcome to this special episode of the Hemp for Humanity podcast. Episode 3, featuring Dr. Stuart Titus. We call this episode the Hemp Update because in this episode you'll be seeing a superb presentation by Dr. Stuart Titus that he made in Tokyo, Japan in February 2025 to almost 500 participants, including many health professionals, doctors, and veterinarians in the audience, and Canaway brand ambassadors. Canaway is the proud sponsor of the Hemp for Humanity podcast. But this episode is about hemp in general, and you'll learn all about hemp and its multitude uses. And this particular presentation was prepared for the event, the Hemp for Humanity event in Japan. But we decided to do this recording so you can enjoy it with English language slides and so forth. But the Hemp for Humanity events go back to March of 2019 when we first had a big event in Vienna, Austria, because of, let's say, political and regulatory reasons. So the CBD market was exploding. And Canaway did make that happen and initially brought CBD and hemp to Europe and had a very successful period of growing the business in 2018 into 2019. The authorities woke up and didn't know how to handle this new area. So there was a lot of pushback. They actually threatened to stop a Canaway event in Vienna and come and close it down if we did it. So that event turned into a Hemp for Humanity event, and it was a wonderful training and teaching educational event where we did invite the police to join us, and we invited the several politicians and people from the hemp industry and so forth in order to really educate about this wonderful plant. And since then, Hemp for Humanity events have happened in various places, including lately again in Iceland, where Dr. Titus was presenting again, and in February in 2025 in Tokyo, Japan. So Dr. Titus has a background at Wall Street, so he's a former Wall Street trader turned health expert. He has been a key speaker at all the Hemp for Humanity events, but also a lot of international conferences about CBD, about cannabis in very important different settings where CBD has been discussed and has been crucial to the development of CBD legality around the world. So a real co-founder of not only the world's first publicly listed cannabis company, but I would say the whole field, the CBD market. You know, you've been part of establishing it. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Stuart Titus, and I look very much forward to seeing your presentation about hemp and all of the latest you can share about this wonderful plant.
Well, great, Yanni. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. It's been great to be part of the industry. Certainly the growth of this industry on the international basis has been the real forefront of Canaway. We've now been exporting product to 47 countries internationally throughout the European Union. Great work from Yanni Heimonen with the European Industrial Hemp Association to legalize hemp and CBD products. It's been wonderful to also pioneer markets in Japan. That started our operations in Japan started back in April of 2019. Peter Dale's done a phenomenal job over the years, and certainly Canaway remains very strong, quite popular in the Japanese market. I've been CEO of the parent company to Canaway, Medical Marijuana Inc., for many years. I'm semi-retired now, but still doing a lot of consulting work. I'm doing a lot of study and research on the cannabinoids, and certainly look forward to publishing many more studies. I've currently been author of, or co-author of 3 published studies on CBD and its wonderful effect for epilepsy children. Certainly the international aspects of this company is what really drives us, and certainly everything starts right from the very hemp seed itself. And let's perhaps talk a little bit about hemp seed to get started today. And let's see, I think back to you, kind of controlling slides for some reason. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can do that. Get to the next slide here, Yanni. Well, hemp seed certainly is a superfood for both us humans as well as our animals. There are many different varietals of hemp seed, but certainly hemp seed itself can be considered as a superfood. Hemp seeds have a very rich nutritional profile, provide a wide range of health benefits, including protecting the brain, boosting heart and cardiovascular health, as well as improving skin conditions. These small, tiny little brown seeds, which again may be small in size, hold enormous nutritional content, great benefit for humanity. And let's try our next slide. So here we can see some of the fabulous benefits for hemp seed itself, helping to reduce symptoms of numerous ailments, as well as improving the health of the heart, skin, joints, etc. And specific types of hemp seed can be grown for various industrial purposes. Now, the main uses for hemp, which translate back to the specific seed varietals, include hemp in its fiber production, or hemp seed being used for its grain production. A third avenue might be the hemp shivs, the inner hemp hurd itself, and production in building and construction materials. And then finally, hemp can be grown for a high concentration of CBD, which has great medical and therapeutic applications. So again, specific hemp seed varietals are suited for each of these industrial applications. And let's take a look first at the hemp seed varietals for its fiber production. And here we can see a nice picture of the Chin Ma hemp fiber variety. This particular cultivar comes from non-feminized, so both male and female hemp seeds. And as you can see in the nice picture here, this is one of the many hemp seed varietals that can grow very tall in height. And of course, this provides a tremendous amount of fiber that can be used in the textile application. And the next slide here talks about another varietal called the Yuma fiber crop, which again can be used for different industrial purposes. It's a dual crop which allows for both quality fiber as well as grain harvest. So the hemp seed, the nutritional value of hemp seed can come from this particular variety, as well as farmers can double dip, if you will, on a second industrial process by using the stalk itself for the textile application. As much as 9 tons of fiber can be produced per acre of this specific varietal. Certainly, there's a great application to use this varietal for its abundant biomass. And if you take that biomass to a biofuel facility, certainly you can produce very good amounts of clean, natural ethanol, methanol, etc., from this particular varietal. Let's see, there are many great benefits here. It's a very vigorous strain with a very thick stem that thrives in heat. It can also withstand harsh winter climates as well. So very much an international crop here. In the northern hemisphere, particularly, this strain performs best in subtropical climates between latitudes of 10 and 35 degrees. However, a very reputable Yuma dealer reports that it can be grown all the way up to the northern parts of Canada. So certainly hemp for textile production can be grown really throughout the globe and planet. The best production areas would be in southern locations in our United States. This might include Texas, Florida, and New Mexico, as well as internationally, the country of Mexico itself, and down to Colombia, Venezuela, in Central, as well as South America, all through India, southern China, Southeast Asia. This varietal grows very strong and quite abundantly. So this strain actually produces the largest seed out of any varietal, which can actually be 4 to 7 times larger than a typical hemp seed. Now, hemp fiber, which is used in textile purposes, let's perhaps take a look at this. Of course, the initial application going back many generations and centuries was in our Navy in the terms of ropes, sails on ships, certainly all featured hemp because it was so sturdy and would just last where other fibers would break down because of the salt water spray, and that would really degrade them. But the hemp ropes would last indefinitely, as well as hemp sails, which were by far preferred for naval and sailing operations. In fact, the British built their huge Commonwealth nations throughout the globe by ruling the open seas by their usage of the world's best fiber hemp plants. And here you can see a nice picture of some of the application for hemp clothing as well as fabrics. And hemp fabric is well known for its durability, its great benefits as clothing because it wicks moisture away from the skin. It naturally keeps you warm in winter, cool in summer. So it's durable, it has breathability as well as sustainability for our world economy. And in terms of its application in terms of bioplastics, probably the best one is right in Europe. Many cars, automobiles, BMW and Audi, Mercedes-Benz, etc., all use hemp fiber for finished door panels, dashboards, etc. Here's a nice pictorial of the actual process where hemp fiber goes into a non-woven map and then right into a finished door panel, and then finally the finished door panel itself. We have a few nice pictures coming up here. This is a beautiful interior. BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, etc. will all use hemp building and construction materials, as well as the hemp application for door panels, dashboards, and other interior features of the car. Very sustainable, renewable. It benefits both industry as well as agriculture in many European nations. Now, there are other hemp seed varietals for grain production, just for the hemp seed itself. So you can grow a very high amount of hemp seed, particularly with this one varietal that was actually developed in Finland. It is now known as the Finola varietal. This is an oilseed hemp varietal that was developed in Finland. As I mentioned, the variety has its name correctly spelled with all capital letters. The varietal was developed by a Dr. J.C. Callaway in 1995, and the European Union plant variety rights were actually granted for the Finola varietal back in 1999. At that time, Finola was already accepted into the Canadian list of hemp cultivars in 1998, still remains to this day. The breeder's code is shown here on the screen. Certainly, this hemp seed varietal has been accepted within the European Union as in 2003. Before this time, basically the hemp varietals were only used for fiber and textile, but now they created this special category for hemp oil seed varietals. And certainly in the US, our initial cultivation started in 2014 with hemp research being allowed. And then in 2018, we finally legalized hemp, brought back hemp as an approved agricultural crop in the United States. But the interesting thing was a special European Union category for oilseed hemp was created in November of 2003 due to the Finola's acceptance. And previously, again, only fiber hemp varietals were recognized in the European Union. And the Finola varietal has been really cultivated now in many countries across the globe because of its amazing popularity. This can be described, the Finola varietal, as a short, dioecious, auto-flowering, early maturing varietal. The Finola seeds can be harvested by a conventional harvester known as a combine, so you don't need special harvesting equipment like you do for many of our different hemp varietals that we do grow around the globe, and particularly in Europe. And today, Finola remains the most productive variety for grain. A record 3,200 kilograms per hectare were produced in Alberta, Canada, on a 100-acre plot that was under irrigation. Again, the developer, Dr. J.C. Callaway from Finland. Now, there are many great benefits for hemp seed itself, and let's go through some of this. The wonderful grain aspects of hemp. The hemp seed contains a tremendous variety of amino acids, including all your essential amino acids that necessarily have to come from our diets. And the amino acids, of course, are the building blocks for protein within our bodies that allow our muscles to stay strong, our bones to stay healthy as we go through our growth period. Certainly, the essential amino acids are listed here on the screen. We also have a great amount of essential fatty acids, and particularly the ratio between some of these fatty acids is fantastic, just great for overall health and wellness. These essential fatty acids have great benefit for heart and cardiovascular conditions. And then there's special proteins known as immunoglobulins that support the body's immune system. This includes IgA, immunoglobulin A, as well as IgG1, immunoglobulin gamma 1. The hemp seed contains all these wonderful components that do help our bodies to maintain a great level of overall health and wellness. Now, we've talked about these essential fatty acids, which derive from hemp, and many of these essential fatty acids, like the essential amino acids, do have to come from our diets. Our bodies can't synthesize them. At one point, these essential fatty acids were actually termed vitamin F for their incredible nutritional importance. I know they say fatty acids, so some people are very fat adverse, but these types of fats are very healthy, healthful, and beneficial for us. The immunoglobulins I was just talking about earlier also found in the hemp seed. These are specialized proteins supporting the body's immune system. It's been interesting to note that research over time has shown mothers who are IgG1 deficient have an 80% greater likelihood of having an autistic child. So the basic nutrition that we can get from the hemp seed, the importance to build these very strong immunoglobulins, which help the mother's immune system that can then be passed along to the child. The importance of this very, very much undervalued in terms of our normal knowledge and culture. Certainly, a lot of education can be done in this front to help us improve the lives of our new generations that are coming along. This hemp grain can be pressed into hemp seed oil, and here's a nice picture of a hemp seed oil press. So the hemp seed oil is extracted from seeds. This process occurs through cold pressing, and it's very similar to the same way that olives are cold pressed to make olive oil. Here, the hemp seeds are pressed to make this wonderful hemp seed oil. So hemp seed oil contains polyunsaturated fatty acids, the linolenic acid, which reduces cholesterol, especially the LDL cholesterol, or the bad cholesterol, the alpha-linolenic acid, and the gamma linolenic acid as well. These essential fatty acids do help to reduce inflammation within the body, and many great health benefits come from this. There's a wonderful ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. Certainly, many experts look at this particular ratio and see how the great benefits of hemp seed really help to improve our diets and nutritional factors. And it has very much shown to have industrial application as well. So the hemp seed oil, again, being highly unsaturated, is useful in many industrial applications, particularly as a drying oil for producing things such as specialty inks, paints, varnishes, other technical coatings. It's also used in conventional diesel fuels. It lowers the freezing or the solidification point of oil in your automobile. So certainly many people in northern climates will use this, just adding it in the wintertime to their gasoline to keep it from freezing. And we can also see many other additional benefits. Another nice picture of this wonderful hemp seed press here. There is also a wonderful application for the hemp grain production process when you're developing this hemp seed oil to also produce hemp protein powder. And the hemp protein is amazingly easy to digest. Again, it contains all these essential amino acids that must derive from our diet, the building blocks of protein. So many bodybuilders, weightlifters really prefer the hemp protein because, again, it's just easy to digest. And particularly the albumin and globulin adenosine proteins match very closely. just about an identical match to that within our human blood. So there's a real interesting application here. Many scientists now in the European Union are working to develop and approve hemp-based blood transfusion technology in the Czech Republic based on this hemp protein and the amazing similarities between the hemp protein as well as the protein that's found in human blood. In fact, there is a US government patent on this particular process that would avoid any blood type matching requirements for transfusion individuals. Talk a little bit more about that later. But again, the hemp protein known as albumin and globulin edestin, remarkably similar to the proteins found in human blood plasma. Certainly makes this hemp protein incredibly easy to digest and assimilate. Again, many top athletes prefer this. It's a great choice for people who have difficulty digesting other plant-based proteins such as soy or pea, which can be grown GMO. It's also a preferred choice of athletes as the dairy alternative, whey protein, can become difficult to digest with long-term usage. And again, talking about the amino acids, and particularly all the 9 essential amino acids, and much of the hemp protein, again, contains fatty acids as well, tocopherols, which may help lower the risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Again, the immunoglobulins play a huge part in the body's immune response. They help prevent infections and attack foreign substances that enter into the body. And I'll talk a little bit further about this Czech group that is developing the blood transfusion technology. But for those of you who might be interested to look at more study and information on this, plasmaforpeople.com has some great information on it. So plasma 4, the letter 4, or the number 4 rather, plasma, the number 4, people.com is where you can find information here. Now here, a little bit of information just regarding this future human blood transfusion alternative. Certainly, we've seen the great potential benefit here. The US government patent is technically titled Agent for Substitution of Human Blood Plasma and Method of Production. This is US patent number 2007-019-652-6A1, blood transfusion substitute. So this is a clean product, doesn't contain any contamination. There's no blood type matching required. You can have this in just, this transfusion no matter what your blood type is, and it contains about 98% of the human blood characteristics. So perhaps it's not 100% perfect, but certainly the great benefits will outweigh the negatives as this can get through the European Medicines Agency. So the research group from the Czech Republic is again seeking additional investment into their technology. Certainly excited to see some of their study and research. Currently, they've been successful in the application in terms of its animal studies, and they're very close to being able to enter into actual human studies to prove this technology out. Present, a dietary supplement is available while the company is developing an intravenous blood transfusion for the medical community. Medical approval is still a couple of years away. Some clinical study and research needs to be done. These clinical trials are certainly necessary, but we're overall very, very excited about this, and I'm glad to be sharing this with the audience this evening. Now, of course, many of the benefits would be absolutely fabulous to have a very readily available source for things such as emergency room situations due to injury, excessive bleeding, organ transplantations, surgeries, military personnel on the battlefield. Heaven forbid we ever have a world calamity, and certainly many individuals might need blood transfusions or external blood at the time, and many times the donor pool is reduced in certain areas, but this technology will make blood transfusions available to just about every person on the entire planet. Certainly the excitement of this technology is there, holds great profound benefit for the future of humanity. Well, let's now turn some attention to the inner hemp herd, what might be called hemp shivs, and the processing that's available from this. Here are some wonderful building and construction materials. You can see pictured hemp pressed board pictured here, And this develops from the hemp sheaves, the inner hemp hurd that's pressed and then plastered together to form a nice piece of hemp board. The way to develop hemp concrete, the process is here with lime, water, and then these inner hemp sheaves itself. Certainly, they're great potential benefits with hemp concrete. It's very much flame resistant, water resistant. Certainly, it breathes very naturally, so it'll naturally keep your home warm in winter, cool in summer. Provides an incredibly clean internal environment in the house. It's naturally antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiviral, etc. So we're very excited about the future of the hemp concrete or the hempcrete industry. Here you can see pictures of hemp concrete blocks. They're like Lego type blocks that can be stacked upon each other. Certainly, this allows for great potential within the construction and building industry. And again, all this derives from the inner hemp sheaves, or the hemp hurd, as it's called. Hempcrete, again, fireproof, and now has recently been accepted as a approved building and construction material in the United States. So the hemp logo style blocks will make it so much easier for contractors to use these prefabricated materials within future homes and construction projects. Here's another potential application: hemp insulation material. You can see these very thin hemp fibers all laid upon each other, and certainly the hemp insulation material will keep many houses warm and provide the amazing benefits of the interior environment, the antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial internal environments. A nice picture of some of the hemp wool insulation by a group in the US called Hemptexture. They're really developing their business quite significantly. Certainly another great company to follow in terms of the industry. Here's some of the Hemptexture hemp wool insulation panels that are installed on a roof. You can see how beautifully well they fit, and certainly we're quite excited about this aspect of the industry. The hemp insulation, prefabricated hemp insulation panels will certainly make a much more ecologically friendly version of insulation materials. And now that the R values are so high, basically this has allowed them to be accepted throughout the US and the Hemp Building Association. We're certainly quite excited about this. Now, Hemptexture has actually received a U.S. federal government grant. I'll talk about that in a few moments, but I want to turn now to this particular project in the northeastern part of the United States in Massachusetts. A hempcrete development is ready to welcome new residents, and certainly last month, February of 2015, this construction project, which consists of 12 duplex units in Newburyport, Massachusetts, has opened to residents. And here's a picture of the exterior of these wonderful, nice little hemp residences in Newburyport, Massachusetts. So certainly it's a beautiful project. Here's a picture of the interior. You can see the beautiful interior parts of this. This was our country's largest hemp project, and certainly the fact it's now complete has great benefit to show the world. So the hempcrete panels weigh significantly less, almost half the weight as compared to normal concrete. They're 35 centimeters solid of hemp lime fiber mix. Hemp itself is not structural, so structural support from the whole structure come from wood, tubular steel, of course, then adapting the process to allow for hempcrete to then be poured around these supporting structures. In terms of the Ukraine, obviously there's going to be a tremendous amount of rebuilding. We hope the war here will be over soon. There's certainly movement towards that end, hopefully progress in the coming negotiations over the following week or weeks. But here are some of the rebuilding projects shown in the Ukraine on the screen here. And hemp is certainly part of that rebuilding process. There's a wonderful voice of the global hemp industry. Hemp Today has been really looking at the hemp alternative to many of the building construction materials, and particularly this individual here pictured, Sergei Kovalenkov, has been very much at the forefront with his Hempire building group, and he's been basically a tremendous ambassador for various hemp projects going on around the globe. But back in his native Ukraine, certainly he's taking the lead in many projects. We wish him the best. Hemp Today, coming up, the first quarter magazine, I believe it should be released sometime towards the end of the month, will have a wonderful feature about Sergey and his great applications in terms of hemp building, and particularly for rebuilding many structures in the Ukraine. So the hemp building materials I was just talking about, particularly the hemp concrete, can protect homes from wildfires. And certainly we can see that the building materials can help protect homes from wildfires just by making some very minor adjustments. So you can see on the left side of the screen, a home with no preventative measures, but many things you can do to help lower your risk of fire damage by just taking some of these interesting preventative measures. And of course, one of the great measures itself is to build a home based on hempcrete. Because as you can see here, just recently in Los Angeles, an area where very close to where I live, you can see many of the houses on the Pacific coast had burned to the ground in its entirety with the terrible wildfires we had in California. But every so often you see a house that actually survived through the fires because of some of the benefits or some of the things that the homeowner was potentially able to do. As one very large architect mentions in California, there are, say, 50 different ways that a fire can burn your house. But if you can take on some of the less combustible exteriors or other things, well, you're very much reducing your risk factor for a home, and particularly the fact that hempcrete seems to be totally fireproof. Our American Society of Testing and Materials did a study with a hempcrete wall where they fired a 1,700 degree Fahrenheit fire at that wall for an hour period of time, and that hemp wall withstood that onslaught. So certainly this particular hemp concrete wall that's produced by a group in the United States called Americhanbri, and their cast hemp, very easy spray on hempcrete, has received a 1 hour fire resistance rating from the ASTM International, the American Society for Testing and Materials. So this has great application in terms of the rebuilding of some of these coastal areas of California that suffered such terrible damage. Now, finally, we can talk about hemp seed varietals for CBD and non-psychoactive cannabinoid production. So here we see varietals with names such as Mountain Mango, Quick Kush, Cherry Wine, The Wife, Silver Linings, Canadian Beauty, CBD Remedy, and others are readily available from sources such as Cheyenne Mountain Seed Company. And with the increasing popularity of hemp for CBD production, again, this represents a $5 billion annual marketplace in the United States, $7 billion annually worldwide. The demand for quality feminized hemp seeds continues to be quite robust throughout the world. And of course, many of those hemp seed varietals can be used for CBD. Of course, here you can see pictured some of our beautiful Canaway products. Certainly, we've been in the European community since 2017. We're very excited about the future of our operations within Europe. Now, in terms of post-harvest hemp processing plants and facilities, there are many that are starting to flourish in the United States. We legalized hemp back in 2018 as an approved agricultural crop, but it's taken many years to develop the production facilities to support large-scale hemp farming and hemp agriculture. But here's the largest facility in the U.S. that's run by a group called Panda Biotechnologies. Panda Biotech is from Wichita Falls, Texas, in the United States. It's the largest processing facility in the Western Hemisphere, actually, and it produces American-grown raw hemp feedstock into various textile applications. This is a nice picture of the interior of their large processing facilities. Another company I mentioned earlier in the presentation is Hempatexture, based in Idaho, in the United States. They produce the wonderful hemp building and insulation material. Certainly these have very high R values, keep a very clean home environment, naturally antibacterial, antimicrobial, etc. Certainly a very significant sustainable alternative to conventional and toxic thermal insulation materials. And the uh, company, the Hemp Texture Company, certainly is allowing us in the United States to restore rural agriculture. So many of the vacant agricultural lands that basically are at rest in between various crop cycles. Well, hemp can be planted as a rotational crop, and certainly Hemp Texture can use that hemp process, their processing, to take the raw fiber and develop into these wonderful hemp insulation materials. Recently, they've received an $8.42 million grant from the U.S. government, particularly the U.S. Department of Energy research, showing that these hemp insulation panels can help reduce energy and electric costs for heating in the wintertime, cooling in the summer, etc. So the U.S. government is helping Hemp Texture to develop their processing facilities quite significantly. So the company now is developing a second processing facility in Tennessee, the central part of our United States, so it'll be very easy to ship their finished products all throughout our United States. Certainly, this has a great application for growth in this particular industry, and we're going to employ a significant amount of Americans here at this Hemp Texture plant in Tennessee in the U.S. Now, up in Canada, our neighbor to the north, this group, Canadian Greenfield Technologies, has developed what's called a hemp train. This is a processing facility for the raw hemp stalks that farmers will grow. They can take their raw stalks into this Canadian Greenfield Technologies processing facility, and they'll produce very nice fiber that can be used in textile. But now this same process can take it one step further and develop that feedstock for what's called biochar applications. So this biochar hemp train is what they call a turnkey facility for mass producing baled hemp into a feedstock for what's called biochar production. There's some great value. There's huge industrial value in hemp biochar, and I'll get to that here in just a few moments in the presentation. Anyway, this conventional technology that they've now been able to process one step further is going to sequester a huge amount of carbon. Certainly, there are great applications here, giving farmers an additional revenue source and income stream to help maximize the value of their crop. Certainly, the carbon credits derived from hemp to biochar conversion will command the highest value in the carbon credits market, and this will really help hemp farmers to grow significantly more hemp. Now, let's talk a little bit more about hemp biochar and take a look at this. So this is a picture of what hemp biochar might look like. It's very carbon rich. It improves the soil health for agriculture. So if you can take this hemp biochar, place it back on your agricultural field, you'll definitely improve the health of your soil. It will sequester carbon, and it's created through a burning or a heating process known as pyrolysis. So the hemp biochar, again, a very carbon-rich material that has great application for the future of hemp. Again, created through a pyrolysis process. This is a thermal decomposition process used to convert organic materials into biochar, synthetic gas, and oil, again, under high temperatures in the absence of oxygen. And just look at some of the potential benefits here. Again, improving the soil health. It assists the nutrient cycling and recycling process. It assists the soil with water retention. It's important for sustainable agriculture and improves overall crop yields. The carbon sequestration, that can store a great amount of carbon in the soil for a very long period of time. And again, great revenue stream for farmer just from selling the carbon credits themselves. I think we've reviewed some of the great benefits here. Hemp is a great candidate for bioproduction or biochar production as it grows quickly, and it can capture significant amounts of atmospheric carbon dioxide that can then be replanted back into the ground. So here's a nice production chart, if you will, of the hemp biochar process. Certainly the end result, synthetic gas, bio oil, as well as the biochar that can then be returned back to the soil and stored for many generations and centuries. The real benefit industrially for hemp biochar is in terms of what we call biographene. So again, this would be a byproduct of the hemp biofuel production process. Again, it benefits depleted agricultural soils, etc. But the hemp biographene project, or this particular silo, this particular ancillary application, allows for a very high value, high dollar value material that can be produced. It is extremely electrically conductive, and it has great application for electrical vehicles as well as for solar because it can store a tremendous amount of energy, which can then be utilized over time. So here's kind of a picture of a single layer of graphene, or what might be considered biographene, if you will, made from hemp. It's very strong. Certainly, graphene would be very similar to the way you can process hemp and the carbon nanosheets that have been actually developed. There's a patent on the production of these carbon nanosheets from industrial hemp, and these are very similar to very thin silicone wafers, and their actual atomic structure allows for a significant amount of electricity to be stored and conducted through the entire network here. So research estimates that this layering can be 200 times stronger than steel, interestingly enough, and 100 times stronger than the very best and toughest diamonds. So this can actually be made into a bulletproof material that military personnel can potentially wear, a bulletproof vest, for example. But certainly, there are many interesting properties that graphene would share with hemp batteries. Both are thermally and electrically conductive, and the conductive nature means that minimal resistance occurs when electricity is run through these materials. Thus, minimal heat is produced versus conventional wires, and the atomic structure just allows for electrons to move quickly and fluidly. Pure graphene is 1,000 times more conductive than copper. So imagine a copper wire, which many people have in their house, and you can improve on that copper wire by 1,000 times by using pure graphene or by using the hemp-based biographene technology. Let me see if I can go back and start to. Here's a nice picture of biographene. So high quality graphene can sell for anywhere between $100 and $400 per gram, depending on the specific quality and the particular source. This makes a kilogram, just 1 kilogram worth of top quality biographene worth anywhere from $100 to $400,000 US. Certainly, the price is dictated by the purity and the intended application. Certainly, there are lower quality graphene, which is significantly less expensive, but for those wanting the very top industrial use and wanting to make these very advanced silicone chips, if you will, this biographene can be very cost competitive compared to mining the earth for things such as lithium, et cetera. So again, there are a great range of prices and varietals that are existing within the market. But given the huge demand for silicone chips and electronics, particularly high quality silicone chips, there's a huge market arena just waiting for the larger industrial production of this biographene, which can come from industrial hemp. Let me see if I can continue to advance the slides. A nice article appeared in June of 2024 and posing the question, will hemp batteries power your next Porsche electric vehicle? Well, these hemp-powered batteries are going to be part of Porsche's rollout in terms of their manufacturing, and some of its race car parts are already made from hemp, but certainly hemp within the battery structure of this Porsche electric vehicle certainly is something that's going on right now in test markets. And certainly we're quite excited about the potential for hemp batteries to enter into the electric vehicle marketplace and market arena. And going further into hemp farming, we can talk a little bit more about hemp harvesting technology. our company in particular was very much in the early stages, if you will, of hemp production over in the European community in terms of its application for growing a high concentration CBD within a hemp crop. And one thing we found out was that we had to develop specialty harvesters for this particular process because a normal harvester would only go maybe a quarter way down the first row and the blades would all be chewed up because the hemp fibers, the hemp stalks had such strong fibers that it would basically erode and corrode the blades. And we had to develop these specialty tungsten blades, et cetera, and special harvesting equipment. So overall, I believe we invested about $12 million to upgrade our harvesting equipment. But here's pictured one of the hemp harvesters called the Hemp Bull, if you will, that we've been able to produce over the years. Certainly, it's been great to see the evolution in the harvesting industry, and many groups now across the globe are employing this type of sophisticated harvesting technology within their hemp crop. Great benefit, of course, from the agricultural process is the carbon sequestration. I've mentioned this earlier, but here is a picture description of the carbon sequestration process. And in the end, you can see a lot of that carbon is captured from the processing and then deposited right back into the earth and the soil so we can keep it out of our atmosphere and help reduce the aspect of global warming. Another aspect of the hemp agricultural process is the actual post-harvest drying process. Here you can see pictured some of the the earlier ways we would just hang the harvested hemp upside down and a certain environment. We have dehumidifiers there trying to pull the moisture out of the hemp crop itself, and this would allow for us to then be able to process all the hemp down into a very thin, fine powder, which we could take to the extraction facility that would allow us to produce, very strong CBD-rich hemp oil, which we use for our application. But now, over time, the hemp drying process has become very much more sophisticated with these sophisticated hemp dryers themselves, and actually the computers controlling all the technology behind this. So very little is left to chance, and certainly these hemp dryers, if you will, this hemp drying technology certainly has added great value to the benefit of the crop, because if you don't dry your crop properly, that moisture can develop into mold, yeast, fungus, and the rest, and it would destroy a full year's worth of the agricultural process very quickly if that harvesting and drying process is not done properly. Well, certainly now over time, there's been lab developed forms of CBD. We're not necessarily in favor of some of this, but certainly this is an advent, and many forms of CBD on markets are developed from lab processes rather than hemp that's been grown in nature and has spent time, of course, in the soil and growing and getting all the soil characteristics, but still a very similar CBD molecule can be developed in the laboratory through synthetic processes. These lab-developed processes will then be used for the pharmaceutical version of CBD because our regulators think it's easier to standardize than what comes from the plant, because the plant will change certain characteristics every year, and the doctors just want to be consistent with their application of a drug to any human individual. But unfortunately, these synthetic forms of CBD first don't work as well as the natural botanical processes, but also confer some toxic side effects to the human body. The human body does not digest and assimilate lab-developed CBD as well as it does naturally botanically grown forms of CBD. So the doctors with this particular pharmaceutical version of CBD are warned to watch their patients for elevated levels of toxic liver enzymes. For those of you in the medical industry, you recognize these terms: elevated levels of ALT, ALP, AST, elevated bilirubin levels, all indicating liver damage. But botanical CBD is just like food. There's zero toxic side effects, and this has been proven by clinical study and research that Canaway has participated in, and we've done several thousand patient studies to basically prove this out. And again, just to look at the differences between botanical versus synthetic CBD, and particularly looking at seizure control. If you look at the pharmaceutical version, known as Epidiolex, they're giving very high doses, 400 to 700 milligrams of CBD daily to these very young children, where botanical CBD, but the children might only need 40 to 60 milligrams, so 10 times less product, and again, no side effects versus what you see here with Epidiolex. So certainly the scales tip in favor of the natural botanical version of CBD. Now, the market arena itself for CBD is quite robust. As I mentioned earlier, the US, we see sales of CBD as a dietary supplement ranging about $5 billion annually. Internationally, the sales are another $2 billion, US dollar equivalent. And the pharmaceutical companies will sell perhaps close to $1 billion worth of CBD this year, known as Epidiolex. Interesting to see global vitamin C sales would range to about $2 billion. So actually, the CBD market is even greater than what's occurred with vitamin C. Well, back in the day when we were first starting this CBD as a dietary supplement market in 2011, 2012, very few people, only the very knowledgeable cannabis cultivators of the world even knew what CBD was. We had to do a very significant education process to get people to understand the benefits of non-psychoactive cannabis, et cetera. We never imagined that CBD could raise in its overall level of popularity to the level of vitamin C, where $2 billion a year have been sold internationally. But sure enough, the CBD market has well exceeded our very basic expectations. And again, it's just amazing to see how when people start supplementing their internal endogenous cannabinoid system, as well as all the other receptor sites that are outside of the internal endogenous cannabinoid system that are affected or in some way accepting of these cannabinoids, well, certainly many individuals have seen a great elevation in their overall levels of health and wellness. They've been able to overcome many long-standing years of health challenges, et cetera. So, with the great success of CBD, certainly the market has responded appropriately, and people continue to demand high quality, fine CBD products such as the ones we produce here at Canaway. Again, health and wellness has become a very big part of our world dialogue today, as bolstering our body's immune system and our innate immune defenses basically are great things that many people find great relevance for. I mean, we all want to stay healthy and active throughout our years and not succumb to the potential unfortunate situation of the world with the various diseases, viruses, and other health challenges that many of us, unfortunately, have been experiencing. But people who do turn to CBD seem to live healthier lives, seem to live longer, and basically enjoy a quality of life that many individuals certainly would love to be able to achieve that level of quality in their normal daily livelihoods. So the CBD nutraceutical market, as I mentioned, has shown a great growth curve. It certainly is expected now that CBD sales worldwide are going to continue to grow at a 13.8% compounded annual growth rate, which will make the overall CBD market arena worth about 15.8 billion by year 2030. So we're certainly looking forward to a very significant growth curve and continued growth in the market and this industry over time. Now, there's great application in terms of laboratory testing of cannabinoids. Certainly in Japan, we've seen very new regulations in terms of the THC content. In the US and in Europe now, it's a 0.3% THC is still allowed within a legal hemp crop, and we can sell up to a 0.3% THC, high concentration CBD with 0.3% or less THC is something that's federally legal here in the US. It's legal over in the European community. But in Japan, they've been very THC adverse. So only 1 part per million is allowed in our CBD products here. We've had to do a tremendous amount of laboratory work and processing to get that level of THC down. It's a 0.0001% or 1 part per million. Well, we've been able to achieve that, and that's what's allowed Canaway to flourish over in Japan, where many competitors were not able to remove that much THC from their finished product and basically had to withdraw from the Japan markets. So again, this is something where we've been able to excel with some of our laboratory facilities. We're very excited about an upcoming trip. For those of you who qualify in August, can go to our production facilities over in Europe, where we produce some very fine, high quality products, a great range of entourage botanicals, a great amount of your cannabinoids, particularly your non-psychoactive cannabinoids, CBD being the lead cannabinoid, but great amounts of other non-psychoactive cannabinoids and your things, terpenoids, flavonoids, plant waxes, etc., all part of our new formulations that are just getting better and better over time. So we're really excited about what we have to offer, and I can't wait to see everyone over in the European community in August. Japan, again, a great growth curve showing here. You can see the great acceleration in growth. The overall acceleration might be slowing down a little bit, but still the overall growth, certainly we're looking for tremendous benefit here, and a great number of individuals just seeing wonderful health and wellness benefits, sharing those benefits with their relatives, neighbors, etc. Certainly, we're quite excited about the growth of the overall marketplace. And particularly in the skincare and the hemp cosmetic markets, there's a huge market growth ahead. Researchers, this is a group out of San Francisco called Grandview Research, estimates the current market for CBD-based skincare market products would be about $2.5 billion on a global basis, and this is going to accelerate quite nicely to about $8 billion by 2030. So a 21.4% compounded annual growth rate is what's expected in this. And again, there are many factors, beyond this. Basically, the rapid growth being driven by increasing consumer awareness of the therapeutic benefits of CBD in treating skincare conditions, things such as acne, dry skin, inflammation, aging. Certainly, Canaway's got some wonderful products here, but over time, we really believe that there are a great number of other factors that are involved in this, particularly many other countries allowing skincare and other topical forms of CBD products into the marketplace. So this is going to open doors to many new consumers, and current consumers in the skincare market have now been able to use CBD for the past 6 months, couple of years with their clients, and really showing some great benefit. Here you can see the distribution channels. Many people will sell CBD skincare products online, others at upper end beauty and cosmetic facilities. And certainly more of these facilities over time are just seeing the great benefit from CBD and wanting to carry more and more CBD products. This is really going to be a tremendous growth factor over the following months and years ahead. I can't be more excited about the CBD skincare market arena that's developing here. They're great amount of trends. Canaway's got a beautiful video presentation about our new skincare products that have been reinvigorated and revitalized. I really can't speak highly enough about these particular products, and I'm very, very excited about it. Of course, CBD and cannabinoid research, I've been very much at the forefront of this. Many publications, studies. There are over 35,000 publications now related particularly to CBD and cannabinoid when you research things on the internet. Great volume of... Sorry, let me just try to get this off. Apologize. Certainly, we're looking very much forward to much more study and research as now we're more able to get human studies. We've seen a lot of studies with rats, test animals, and laboratory setting. Now that CBD has been around, it's been accepted for a while. There are many, many more human studies that are coming forth. I've been very fortunate to be able to contribute to that with three human studies in terms of co-author of these wonderful studies in terms of CBD's effect for epileptic children. But over time, we're looking for the research community to produce more and more human research here. And well, again, um, basically, we're talking about the great number of minor cannabinoids that will be now coming forth in terms of greater availability for commercial production. Things such as CBDV, the minor cannabinoids that we already have in our Canaway wheelhouse, CBG, CBN, et cetera, cannabigerol, cannabinol, et cetera. But as more of these minor cannabinoids are available for commercial production, as more study and research comes in, we believe that the future is very robust in terms of study and research. We're very excited about being able to help fund some of these particular studies to show the great benefits of CBD. Now, in terms of hemp bioplastics, there is a hemp plastic company that's based out of Boulder, Colorado. They basically produce premium eco-friendly biocomposites. These will not only reduce carbon emissions, but promote sustainable products, things that will naturally biodegrade in landfills. More information available, hempplastic.com. Certainly, this is a great application, and we think many more plastic companies will move forward. Certainly, we have to look at the unfortunate situation where these oil-based plastics don't biodegrade. And you can see on beaches and shorelines around the globe, a huge amount of these bioplastics just accumulate and are a tremendous, not only eyesore, but also environmental danger. I mean, many of these bioplastics will eventually degrade into methane, which is about 20 times more potent than carbon, unfortunately, in terms of its harm for the atmosphere and the rest. But certainly, if we can do things a little bit more friendly with the hemp-based bioplastics, we can really start to make a dent in this. The Pacific Ocean, there is a huge issue in terms of plastic pollution. And there was a group that basically had been doing cross-Pacific ship transportation, and they basically found this huge area, which is 2 times the size of our largest U.S. state, Texas, just filled with these unfortunate plastics, just all conglomerated together. This huge accumulation, particularly of microplastics and what are called nanoplastics, are driving huge concerns for human exposure and its health outcomes. So these microplastics and these microparticles, nanoplastics, basically the concentration in autopsied brain samples were 7 to 30 times greater in concentration than seen in livers or kidneys, and particularly individuals who had any type of dementia or Alzheimer's, significant, were shown to have significantly greater amounts of these plastic contaminants within their brains. It's something that, unfortunately, this situation is just getting well out of control, and the plastic situation is something that we could, certainly make a huge dent in the process. Many other countries are becoming much more friendly towards hemp and CBD itself, and particularly in Thailand, there was a wonderful article mentioned from hemp being coming from zero to economic hero. Great article in the Bangkok Post's business section showing numerous businesses seek to create new hemp products, energy beverage companies, skincare companies, food product companies, health supplement companies. This particular CEO of a group called Carbeo International has been key to be a first mover in the Thailand market for food and beverage products made with hemp. And the Thailand government itself has proposed an investment in the industrial development of hemp. Certainly, they're looking to integrate hemp and CBD in terms of not only modern medicine, but also within traditional Thai medicine. They're looking to support clinical studies and research for safe and effective use of cannabinoid and basically in the treatment of various diseases. So the Thai government is committed to the advancement of the development of hemp, CBD, and cannabis products within traditional Chinese medicine formulations, as well as with integrated medical approaches to overall levels of health and wellness. Well, thank you everybody for participating in today's episode for Help for Humanity. It's certainly been a great honor to be with everybody. I certainly look forward to being in the European Union a few times coming up. I can't thank Yanni enough for the wonderful invitation to our event in August, and certainly to the Denmark Sweden event coming up in October. I look forward to many more podcasts with you all and keeping you up to date with relevant things within the overall industry. We certainly look forward to a great application with everybody over the summertime. Yanni, thanks again for the invitation to be with all. It's certainly been a great pleasure to be with everyone this wonderful day today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stuart Titus. Fantastic presentation as always. Appreciate it a lot, and hopefully everybody learned lots. I certainly did. So this was a great update, and it's just incredible how much this one plant can do. We're very lucky to be affiliated. We have a lot of work ahead. I just took some notes, and definitely we need to look at have another look at things like the hemp plastic, like the composite materials for things like jars. Availability and prices, I think, but it's time to make some moves and utilize more of what hemp has to offer. So exciting times.
They are for sure. Absolutely. Very, very good, Yanni. Well, thank you again. It's really great to be with you and your wonderful group of brand ambassadors.
Thank you.